that 10 years later, 15 years later, USAID would be doing something very different from what they were doing then, but I never would have believed that they would disappear, that they would be eliminated. This is not something that I would have guessed would have happened. I think that over the next few months, as people who have not been in charge before start to understand that not everything is a waste, not everything needs to be eliminated, some of the issue that the students have been having will resolve itself. Visa interviews, which were suspended for a time, have resumed, thank God. We believe that at least over the next few months it will get easier, but we know that the situation is very unpredictable. It tests us because we are people who believe that international education is something worth doing. At least I do, or I wouldn't be here. I've been to Indonesia. We were talking in the car, not just during my fellowship, but in 2012, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 22, 23, 24, and now 25. This is my 11th visit.
Wow.
Aku cinta Kalbar dan selalu kembali. And for a reason, I plead air kapuas. The legend is completely true. I have proved it, but...
Did you swim there?
Did I swim in it? No, I think I got maybe just a drop or two by mistake, but it only takes one drop according to the legend, so you don't have to swim in it. You can ingest just a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got some air kapuas, and I can't leave Pontianak alone.
Okay, you drink water kapuas and then you can come back every year maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, I know that there is that things can be bad right now, but don't give up, because it is worth the trouble. It is worth doing.
I hope. I mean, I hope, Professor, because one of us, Farah, actually, she is pursuing 2 degree, right, Farah? 2 degree or what? You pursuing in 2 degree, right? For master and doctor? No. Oh no. So just she want to study in America, but yeah. There is a limited for the LPDP, right? So something like that. Me also. Actually, I want to go to Adelaide University. No,
I think I almost understand what you asked. Can you say the last part again?
Adelaide University.
Oh, Adelaide.
Yeah. But the what we say, LPDP is almost cut 50%, I think, from the quote.
I have heard someone say earlier today that it's like double austerity, because there is Doge in the USA,
and here also,
and there is also cost cutting in Indonesia. At the same time.
Yeah, the same time.
Okay, maybe all participants in here, do you have any question about education? Yeah, Henry,
please.
Maybe a question.
This is Ask an American time. There are no bad questions, none at all. I will answer almost anything about the U.S. or its university system. No problem.
Okay, let me introduce myself. again because this is our second times to meet you, Pak Kerry, because the first time we met was in American Corner. Yeah, when we have a meeting and the topic is about volunteering. If you,
I
yeah,
do remember that.
yeah.
It was a good discussion, I think.
Yeah, and it's as for me, it's very sad to hear that maybe this is your last time to come to Pontianak, but
Not at all. Only my last time as a representative of Kansas State University.
oh, okay, I get it, I get it.
The Salalu Kambali still applies. Salalu Kambali is not subject to Doge
Yeah,
at all. It is more powerful than Doge. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and I hope this is not your last time to come
Not
to
at all.
Pontianak because we actually the youth, the younger generation learned so much from you. Especially, I still remember what we have talked in the meeting, talking about the volunteering, talking about the connection, or maybe some project that we can do between American generation American youth and Indonesian youth, and we can make solution for both countries for problems that we are facing. So I still remember that my proposed project was about environmental. So as you can see, we have, and maybe almost it is a global issue that waste management or waste, human waste is a big problem in the global. So as I think we can learn if we talk about volunteering or project. I think there is something that I believe there is something that Indonesian can do for Americans, and Americans can do and have the abilities to for Indonesia. That's what I believe, because we have our own uniqueness, we have our own abilities, strength and weakness, something like that. Maybe it's just something to tell you. Thank you.
I think that's a good thing to share, and I'm glad to hear it. One thing that I will tell you about, one thing that you might want to think about and discuss with your colleagues, discuss with your professors. During this visit, I'm talking with people about COIL, C-O-I-L, Collaborative Online International Learning. Basically, it means that a course is being taught at a university in one part of the world, and the same course is also being taught at another university in another part of the world at the same time. And the students are given a project to do. They are able to collaborate with each other using online tools such as Zoom and WhatsApp. And that experience is made part of the course that they are taking. At Kansas State, we have had one really big success with this at UNTAN, a business ethics class in the College of Business at K-State and Fakultas Ekonomi dan Business here on the UNTAN campus. They have done CCIP, Cross-Cultural International Program, on Zoom and WhatsApp for 9 semesters now. And this particular visit, I'm very excited because we are having a K-State graduate who participated in the most recent cross-cultural international program visit UNTAN. He will arrive on Saturday. His name is Ross. Maybe you will meet him. He's your age, not mine. So you have much more in common with him, I think. So if you see him on campus, please introduce yourself and please talk to him. And please also know that business is not the only field where professors and students in the US might be interested in collaboration, even if it has to be in a course that is taught online, or if it has to be online collaboration. The fact that it's becoming more difficult to study in the US if you need to be physically present doesn't mean that we need to stop talking to each other and stop learning about each other. I believe that the world is an infinitely better place when we do, and if I didn't believe that, I wouldn't do what I do. So please consider online collaborations as part of the future that will probably always be with us. We knew that during the pandemic that they would always be important. We didn't know how important at the time, but we do know now. Yeah.
Thank you, Pak Kerry. So maybe if we cannot go physically go to America, yeah, there is still a way. Like for example, doing online or long distance relationship. Yes.
Could I share with you also that most students from Pontianak really do underestimate themselves? I have found they don't put the full value on what they can do. Most of you are accustomed to learning in at least 3 languages. You probably know that in the US, if someone speaks, reads, and writes 3 or more, that's considered genius level in every way. You have a lot to offer. So try not to begin conversations by saying, okay, I'm from Indonesia and I apologize for my bad English, so, and I would like to, no, it's not like that. It's not like that. You have much to offer, the exchange, the experience, absolutely. Okay, I'm talking too much. Someone else must have a question.
Okay, please, Rosinta.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss, for the opportunity. Mr. Kerry, allow me to introduce myself first. My name is Rosinta, and I'm also from University of Tanjung Pura, but from the forestry faculty. Actually, this is the second time I meet an American. So the first time is last year during MAPECI and IWARS. There is Professor Fernand Lewis. I forgot from which university he came, but he actually studies about termites. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe the stars align today, but I am actually very in love with English literature. So when knowing that you're a professor of English, linguistic, and literature,
I'm sorry, I'm going to need to interrupt. I have only a master's degree, not a doctor's degree, and it's not Dr. Kerry, it's not professor.
Oh, it's okay.
Dosen bukan profesor.
Okay. I'm just gonna.
Please continue.
It's okay. I'm just gonna call you Mr. Kerry then.
Please do that,
Okay.
if you wish, or just Kerry.
Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Kerry, I actually have in love with the English literature, especially like The Great Gatsby by Frances Fitzgerald, and also I am avidly in pain and in love with the Tortured Poets Department. I'm sure you're very familiar with it.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
Maybe not as familiar as you are since you're in love.
And also, I figured that regarding linguistics, so the problem we have here, especially in West Kalimantan, a lot of the cultural folk tales, it is passed down from people to people, from person to person. And I would really love if we can somehow preserve it, maybe in writings and stuff, but what the very but the challenge is really hard because sometimes people who still knows about this story is like elderly people, oftentimes above like 70 and 80 years old. So maybe from you, I would like to know, is there a way we can like start preserving this type of folktale stories? Maybe you, I believe America has more advanced education system. Perhaps you can lend us, the students, some advice on how we can preserve these folk tales. Thank you very much.
Your last comment is interesting. When I was here in 2010, we did not say that our education system was more advanced necessarily. What we said was that most of the world does a slightly better job than we do in K-12, kindergarten through year 12, and that we had more development and more different choices for post-secondary study, for university study. I hope that that will still be true 2 years from now. Fingers crossed, yeah. But getting back to what you asked, when I was a fellow here in 2010, I was participating informally on a project with some students who were writing down traditional Malay folk tales in English. Their job was to apply what they learned in their translation classes and give as accurate a rendering into English as they could. And then my job was to clean up the English to make sure that the sentences, the word order was sensible in English, that it made sense and was grammatical in English. And I was glad to help with that. I'm not an expert in this area, but it's an area that I'm interested in. Languages disappear from the planet every day because the last person who knows this particular language or dialect passes away, as everyone will. And I think I can't imagine how lonely it must be to be the last person on earth who speaks your first language. Even if you speak something else, obviously, so that you can communicate, it has to be a very lonely existence that we should try to keep as many people from falling into as possible. I would say don't wait until the last minute. Don't wait to preserve original literature, original oral literature in the first language and in another major language, at least one other. You know, if it's not in Bahasa Indonesia, it should be in Bahasa Indonesia or in English, one or the other. Obviously, Bahasa Indonesia would be better for the government of Arai, but you know, Bahasa and one major world language, yes, write it down. Don't wait until there is one last person, someone who is in bed about to die and everyone is coming with a tape recorder. Please say something that your mom or dad taught you when you were young. Please speak the words of your language so that it won't disappear, so that we can hear what it sounded like after you're gone in an hour. Don't do that. People have done that. From what I have heard, it doesn't ever end well. It is important to do. It's important to do with people who have appropriate expectations about the outcome, which is that we may discover that different people around the world have very different ideas about what it means to be sad, what it means to be happy, what it means when something is funny or when something is not funny. I used to work here with a gentleman who showed me some translations of amusing stories from his home culture that he had rendered into English, and I was trying to figure out when I was supposed to laugh. You know, Western people, we think that all jokes, all stories that are funny have an obvious moment for laughter. We call it the punchline. But not everyone in the world believes that everything amusing should have a punchline. And it's important to work with people who understand that not everyone is the same and not everyone needs to be. Not being a professor of linguistics, though I hope to be one day. One day. Okay, I'm behind. I'm 58 and running behind on that one. Maybe by the time I'm 80, we'll see. I think that's the best answer I can give, but I have to thank you for the question because it's really important that we not let this happen. The world becomes a lot poorer every time it does.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kerry. There is one more follow-up question. So I was recently exposed by the informations that a lot of people, especially Gen Zs and the younger, even more younger generations, are prone to be illiterate. So they were using AI to transcribe the scriptures, their literature, so they more prefer to be a listener rather than a reader. So I would like to know what is your opinion about this, because to me, even though AI is very helpful, like when you don't have someone to discuss about a certain matters, we can use the AI to discuss the important matters, but I think it's really concerning that we depend on it too much, even for a simple task as reading or writing your essays. Thank you, sir.
We have a lot of discussion in the US about how to, for example, talk to students about the use of AI, whether we should ban it, whether we should encourage it. Some people even think we should require it under certain conditions that are spelled out at the beginning of any study course. I don't want you to think that this is only a problem with Gen Zs, though, because let me tell you about an experience that I had. I was teaching a course, an online course for English teachers from elementary to university level in different places around the world, mostly in South America, Africa, and South Asia recently. Some in the Middle East as well. These were all people who wanted to sharpen their English teaching skills. They all taught in English in their countries. Yeah. This course required them to read, and then to post on a discussion board their impressions about what they have read, similar to what you would do in a literature course, and then they had to respond to each other. I don't know if you have an idea about what is an appropriate discussion board response. How long should a discussion board response be? What do you think? Anyone?
I think about how long should the discussion board to be shown, right?
Yeah, if you answer a question someone asks you on a discussion board, how much will you type in your response?
Well, probably because I don't think it can be like too long, so maybe max on 50 words or so.
We say a paragraph is a good, thorough response. These guys were turning in discussion board responses 5 and 6 typed pages long. And no, they were not young students. They were professionals my age. They would respond to a discussion board prompt. It was like the novel War and Peace by, it was that long. Like it was a lot to read. And it was also very apparent that most of it was machine produced. And the problem is, you cannot interact with someone, with a colleague or with a student in an accusing way, especially if you cannot prove it. How do you prove that this is not their work, right? If you know the person, great, but if the person is 6,000 miles away on the other end of the internet and you don't have a personal relationship, maybe it is their work, maybe it isn't. But going on for a discussion board post that long tends to suggest that somebody typed a few things into ChatGPT and said, hey, ChatGPT, give me as much as you can. And then they copy paste, yeah? I was having this conversation earlier today, everyone is talking about it. I think you have to be fair with your students by saying, guys, look, I might not be able to stop you from doing this, but you will harm yourself if you always do this, because you will find that you are at the end of the program and you haven't done the learning that you needed to do, and that will follow you into the workplace. I hope that we don't have an extreme situation where one day I am going to have brain surgery and the surgeon is someone who did all of his papers on ChatGPT with no actual thinking or actual proof that he learned the material or that she learned the material. I think that's an extreme example, but I think you see where I'm going with that. You have to explain to them that there are consequences. The consequences are that you don't learn when you need to learn. I thank you for your patience. It's the best I can do, and I'm glad to be here. Yeah.
Farah, right?
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Farah. So I'm currently
Thank you.
I'm currently a master's student at Wageningen University and Research in the Netherlands. Continuing your discussions about confidence, I don't know, but that it is actually my concerns, and then I felt upset lately. So I'm not finishing my master's yet, but I actually have finished the thesis defense, but I need to do the internship. For the internships, I have some options to do it in Indonesia, back to Indonesia, or do it in other countries. But because I committed to go back to Indonesia to work in here, so I think that is a good idea to understand the atmosphere and then to understand the context. When I was studying in the Netherlands, all people there, like the professors, like the friends, they're very supportive, even though they are quite direct in terms of telling you what is the good and then what is the bad thing. But I truly appreciate their honesty and then their directness. And then just like you said, I feel so encouraged because they will always tell you that there is no bad questions, and then I think I feel so comfortable to do the study in there. But turns out to be when I'm here, I feel so discouraged as a social scientist or social science students, where I think the circumstances or the atmosphere in the forestry sectors, or maybe like in the natural science sectors, they are more likely to conduct research quantitatively. So they always undermine the social science, or it's not only me, but also my friends who also have the experiences. In a moment when I do discussions with some professors here, they actually question my research, my thesis research, and then he said, because you are not doing quantitative research, I don't think it is credible. And then I was always being asked by some people over here that I think they are very good. They're asking me about how can you pursue a forestry if you don't know, for example, like carbon, GIS, for example. And then when I explain it, I'm doing community forestry, social forestry, they cannot tolerate it and still undermine my credibility in academic life. So right now, I feel quite discouraged with it, because if I'm asking questions, they will ask me back, what did you learn in the Netherlands? Why should you pursue your degree in there? Why you just don't go back to Indonesia and study in here, because I don't think there is any significance with your study. So I'm curious to know about your perspective on it. And yeah, thank you for listening.
Thank you for sharing, and I will tell you that this has been something that graduate students in the U.S. have been talking about for over 2 generations. How to present your research to a professor who is convinced that everything can be quantified, and if it cannot be quantified, then it is not real. This is quite a problem. We live in the real world, you and I. We know that many things are very real in our lives that cannot actually be quantified mathematically, cannot be expressed as a formula. I think as frustrating as it is, sometimes you have to be able to convince them that you are at least trying to quantify it as much as possible. For example, if you are doing community forestry and you are talking about, or you are researching things like attitudes of the people toward a certain practice or a certain thing that is happening, those things are quantifiable by really very simple survey research. If they don't want to see that, yeah, you do have to put the hard science into the research to some extent, but I don't think that you should compromise on your commitment to show people how the hard science impacts on real people's lives, because that's always the missing link. And there will be someone out there who is ready to say, you know what, thank you for being the missing link. Thank you for standing in the gap on this between the hard science and the theoretical science, the things that are done on a mainframe computer, and the way that this actually plays out in a small village in Indonesia or in the Netherlands or in America, wherever. I have to say I don't have a solution, but I feel I feel what you're saying because I can remember having this conversation with so many of my colleagues when I was in my 20s. What do we do about Professor so-and-so? He does not believe that anything that is not a number is reality. It's a very common situation. I think we will always be struggling with that one. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It is not you, it is not your imagination. It is, the struggle is real.
I feel more relief now. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone want to discuss something with Pak Kerry? Just say it.
Maybe Rutger, you have struggle in Kapang? Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I want to ask you something.
Okay.
What you really miss from Pontianak? Every time you go back to Kansas, what you remember about Pontianak?
I think every time that I go back, when I feel the wheels go up and the plane is in the air, I suddenly remember that there are about half a dozen people I wanted to talk to and hang out with while I was here that I didn't get to see because of bad planning. It's always the same. It's one reason that I keep coming back, because I can say, well, if I didn't hang out with this person, if I didn't see or visit this person on this trip, I can see that person on the next trip. The way that I built most of my relationships here with the friends that I have here has to do with the fact that I came to their town, their city in 2010 as a foreigner who spoke even less of the language than I do now. And nobody was anything at all but helpful. And I wish that visitors were treated everywhere in the world the way that visitors are treated in Pontianak.
Thank you.
If you have a worldwide reputation for being friendly, that's good.
True.
You deserve it.
Yeah, we also hear that a lot.
Question again?
Okay.
So,
I think someone has another question
okay,
though.
please. Okay, Rosinda.
Mr. Kerry, this is more like a personal questions, but,
Okay.
Hey, just.
but since I'm also like very in love with English literature, do you have any recommendations about the classic English literature? Or maybe what's your favorite? Because I would love to add more to my collections of novels.
I did not study literature as an undergraduate in college. In high school, I did, but only as much as everyone else did. It was in some ways the subject for uncool people at the time. The cool people were doing math and computers and all of that. I was not one of the cool people, but then when I became an ESL teacher, Guru Bahasa Inggris untuk Dewasa, the approach that I was trained on was learning through literature. And it didn't mean that I read a lot of great stories. I'm not the guy who gets through all of Pride and Prejudice and Jane Eyre and all of this stuff. But what I do use a lot in my teaching, not just as an English speaker, but as an American, is short stories, because the American tradition for short stories is actually a pretty strong one. We are strong in that area of the language in ways that other parts of the world might not be. We are. It's one thing we have in common with people from Kalbar. We are a storytelling people. So I would say, if someone is trying to have their first experience with English language and culture, short stories are probably better than the lengthy novels. We have a lot of great short story writers. Try not to put too much emphasis on the fact that Edgar Allan Poe, one of the greater ones, was a seriously messed up individual in many ways. You know, all of his stuff is very dark and disturbing, actually. But there are. I could rattle off a list if I had more time to think. It's clearly not what I'm an expert on, but I can tell you that when I have immigrant or refugee students in front of me who are interested in learning more about American English, if the person is not doing survival English, if they've already had access to education in their home country, it's a very good thing to be able to put down an adaptation of something by O. Henry, for example, and say, okay, you're going to start this in English, you're going to finish it in English, and during our time together, we're going to stop and talk a lot, because there are many expressions and there's a lot of vocabulary that you won't know about if you didn't grow up in the US, but that's okay, because we're here to talk and I'm here to explain what those mean. And that's part of the learning, as a person who is a complete beginner is no longer a complete beginner and is ready to move on. In America, we use short stories for that a lot more than we use the thick book of 18th and 19th century British novels. We do that. We do it in university, and then most people say something like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad I'll never have to take that class again," because it requires a lot of commitment, and the commitment comes from the small part of the population that is in love. I like your expression, right? I don't know that it's true that that novels. I finished it on the train going home last year. It's time for me to read something else. Mm.
I think I'm going to try to find if they sell those books, because honestly, in Indonesia, books pricings are very, very expensive.
Do you have access to Amazon Kindle?
I actually use. So about Amazon or Kindle, I once use it, but since it's too pricey for me as a student, I just try to find whatever books I can found in the local library, but mostly not in English.
Memberships can be pricey if they ask you to buy one, but in the US, people find that what you have to pay to download from the ebook is much less than what you have to pay for the physical copy. And then there is always perpustakaan daerah. Put pressure on the library to get some things that you want. Never hurts to do that. Or at least it works for people in the US.
I think the problem with Indonesian is we are more prone to telling oral stories, so from mouth to mouth rather than reading. Like, I think we are the types of people who can't sit too long and focus on one thing. So we are almost all of us tend to do multitasking and stuff. So as what you said, it took a lot of commitment to sit and read through those books.
True. Can you imagine how long a book would be, a book of stories would be, if it consisted of all the stories that people have told in each other in 1 year while drinking coffee on Gajah Mada Street until 3 in the morning? That would be a long book of stories.
Yeah, it sure will be, because I'm not sure about in other parts of Indonesia, but if it's in Pontianak itself, people can only order like 1 cup of coffee, but they can sit through like 3 to 4 hours in the coffee shop just telling stories and stuff.
Storytelling cultures tend to develop very strong literary traditions. I think Indonesia's will be as strong as America's, if not stronger, at the end of the next generation. For that reason.
Well, hopefully we can do something to preserve this type of stories. Thank you very much, Mr. Kerry, for the insight. It's really a pleasure to meet and discuss this with you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for your patience. I found out I was coming here about an hour ago.
This landing.
About an hour before, actually. So.
Thank you, Rosinta. So, is there someone else? No? Okay. I want to ask you something. What is the most different thing you found in Indonesia and American English teaching method?
I think there are many fewer differences than there were in 2010. Most English speakers all over the planet have adopted a philosophy that says the English teaching needs to be communicative. If you are still memorizing grammar on charts and calling that the extent of your language learning, you're not learning language the way that we think about it now. And I think that English teachers in Indonesia and English teachers in the US have been coming closer together in their view of what we should do during our time together in the classroom. It has to be more communicative. It has to be more hands-on than it has been in the past. Otherwise, why not use Google Translate or a phrasebook, right? At Kansas State University, teachers are always graded by their supervisors based on how well they perform in the classroom. And one way to be graded very low in the program Bahasa Inggris, Universitas Negeri Kansas, that I've been teaching in, to be graded very low is to not have something for the students to actively do during a lesson. if they don't get out of their seat and come to the marker board to show what they know, if they don't have a game or a dialogue that they participate in with each other, if they are expected to just sit there while you talk about adjective clauses and that's all that they do, your score is going to be, as a teacher, is on your evaluation will be quite low. That's one thing that I think we have in common. Differences. The average student at UNTAN is younger than the average university student in the US. When I was in FKIP, the students I was working with were 17, 18, and 19. It's very rare to be 17, or certainly very rare to be 16 at university in the US. Almost always you are over 18, but not necessarily as mature. One of the culture shocks for me coming here the first time was encountering students, especially young women, who had been given a lot of responsibility from a very young age, which is something we don't do a lot in the US unless we have to. So it's all of my colleagues that I have worked with have said that the students become mature students probably on average 2 or 3 years earlier than they do in our system. There are good and bad things about that. Everything has its pluses and minuses.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, my own experience when we still in undergraduate, we already offer a job to be an assistant like that, and we glad to accept it. So we used to get like task and from our teacher, and maybe in 1 week we can have more than 7 tasks to finish. That's true. But from what I asked earlier about the teaching method, I agree with you that we need more discussion, talking, interaction between the student and the teacher to activate our English actually, because alone is passive. I have a passive English. I'm not really good in English. In a situation like this,
it's not true. I understand everything you say.
Really?
Yes. If I ask you to repeat yourself, it has to do with my age and my hearing. It's not your English.
Thank you. Yeah, so I have to be in a like a situation that I can push my English. Yeah. So I agree with you that we need more active learning, like discussion and interaction between student and the teacher. Not only the grammar and it's important, but we need more how to use it in active way, right?
How to use it actively, and if you're a student, how to apply it to what you are studying. The goal should be that you should be able to have a conversation in English with a colleague about things that happen at work, in both a formal and an informal situation. And what we find in the US is that international scholars have a problem with what we call water cooler talk. Water cooler talk means work-related talk that you do with your colleagues, but informally. For example, when you're in the break area at work, you're still talking about work, but it's more informal, right? Things that it has its own rules, its own vocabulary that is different from the vocabulary that you use after work and the vocabulary that you use when you're making a speech or a presentation. There's something in the middle there. And sometimes we don't pay enough attention to what's there. We leave a gap. And that's something that what you're doing here can help you fill.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Anyone can maybe share your experience about learning English? Or someone have been go to Pare? Have everyone go there? So you learn English autodidact. Wow. I am so proud of you guys. Actually. Oh, so we actually learn autodidact from internet here.
Internet, movies, TV, YouTube, the global media, everything is unavoidable, and it has spread English further than anybody could have imagined 2 generations ago. That's true.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so
Yeah.
we are so glad we have you here with us. I hope you are not bored.
I am never bored by anything that happens in Pontianak.
Really?
Yeah, every trip here has challenges and other things. It's not boring. I will come back again.
I hope. Thank you. Oh, and how about the weather?
The
Here is
weather?
so hot.
The weather is what it is. We have your weather in Kansas, where I live, Negara Bagian, Kansas, di Amerika Serikat Tengah. We have your weather in the months of July, August, and September.
Oh.
It's as hot there as it is in Pontianak now. There's no difference. The difference is that because we are where we are, we have winter.
Yeah.
And you don't.
Yeah, that's good. Enough, guys? Okay. Can we have a photo session together? With
You can have a photo session if you really want my picture.
Yeah. Of course.
Personally, I don't like to see my picture very much, but you know, we all get there, so it's fine. Yeah, totally.
Actually, my own opinion in a picture is a memory in physical.
Definitely.
Yeah.
They say it's worth 1,000 words.
That's true.
I don't know. Sometimes it is.
Sometimes. Let's we get that. Why don't you have your water?
Oh, yes.
Yes, get it. You have been talking a lot.
I have been talking way too much. Sometimes talking when I should be listening. Which is why, if anyone wants to send me any questions to that email address I gave you, I will answer. Doesn't matter what it is.
So we also have some sovereign for you. You can have it with us.
Okay.
In the front of the monitor.
Okay. Okay. Don't get old. It's not.
Guys, please get up. We can have a photo with Of course. Prepare your pen. Okay.
spell your name for me? R. O. S. Rosita. What is today? July. Yeah. I will email you short stories that I use with my students, and they will probably not be as far along in English as you are. I will tell you what they think about them, and maybe they can ask you what they think about them. And maybe we can discuss some English language literature online. Definitely.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. It's really a pleasure to
You're welcome. You're welcome. Here is.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks so much.
Hopefully we can see each other again.
I hope so. I don't have, there are things that I need to do, but, I can do them later. I'm good. I don't have anything pressing right now. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah. Yes, sudah. If you, I think I'm going to go, somewhere like internet cafe, coffee shop, so that I can work for a while instead of going back to the hotel, because if I go back to the hotel, I'll just sleep and I won't do anything. I think it would be a good idea. What, this is, oh, the mic. Got it. Thank you. You guys. Are your classes taught in Bahasa or in English or both? In Bahasa? So, you're a student from France and from Francistan